Hi, welcome back to 12 Step Up. My name is Richie. Before I forget, don't forget to uh, subscribe. Also like, share. Um, Today we have a special guest, a good friend of mine, Miariah. Hi, Miariah.
Hi, Richie.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Are you feeling a little spiritual today?
A little spiritual, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just came back from a pretty good event
Mm-hmm.
um, where uh, the woman that helps you shared her story.
Yes.
It was pretty awesome.
It was really cool.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Like how long how long how long have you been in sobriety?
So I'll have 4 years on the 22nd of May. So
Awesome.
this month.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how's it been from 4 years ago?
Oh man. Since I first got sober, I think a lot has changed. It's been a roller coaster, but I think at the end of the day, it's what's best for me and my family.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to forgive me a little today. I'm a little my ADHD is a little crazy today. Obviously you've been with me in the truck today, so
Yeah, I've witnessed it.
you witnessed it. So I'll try to stay focused here. So let's talk about how bad it was for you, or tell me a little bit about how it was for you. How old were you when you started drinking or using?
So I started drinking when I would say I like to just use 15 as the age that I can remember. I know that I kind of experimented a little bit before that, but when I started really heavily drinking, I was 15. And then the first time that I drank in my house in front of a parent was at 16. So that's when it really began. Because at that point, I didn't have to hide it. It was like in my house. I drank when I wanted to drink, and it wasn't ever questioned.
Okay, so like me growing up,
Mhm.
and obviously I never drank around my parents. I come from a Hispanic household, and everything is like
Mhm.
pretty strict. Um, but the first time I got really, really, really completely obliterated, where I think, hung over for about a week.
Mhm.
A friend of mine, he was 23, I was 16 or 17, and it was New Year's, and we were going to go to a party. And so he went in the house and he said, yo, Richie, you ready to go? And my dad said, where do you guys think you guys are going? And, oh, we're going to go to a party. Oh, are you guys going to go drinking? And we were like, no. And my dad's like, well, you guys are drinking tonight. And he knew exactly what we were going to do, and he had heard rumors about what was going to happen.
Mhm.
So I thank him for it,
Mhm.
because I probably wouldn't be here.
Mhm.
Um, but uh, my friend and I drank 2 bottles of tequila,
Mhm.
and I was hurting for a whole week. And I remember my mom telling my dad, maybe you should take him to the hospital. He might be alcohol poisoned. Now he'll be fine.
Oh my goodness.
And I was fine after
Mhm.
about a week. So
Yeah, it never took me a week to recover.
it took me a week to recover.
Never took me a week. That's
Um,
crazy.
and you would think I learned my lesson, right?
Yeah. No, we don't learn our lesson.
No. So, anyways, you were 16. That's when you first started drinking
Yeah,
around in your house.
heavy. I think at 16 I drank every single day at least for a year until um
Did you graduate from school?
nope, I got pregnant at 17 years old and I was lost. I was very lost and that I stopped drinking when I found out I was pregnant. Um
Well, let's rewind
okay.
real quick. What was How bad did it get for you? Like, what was just we don't on this show we
Okay.
don't like to talk about, like, you
Drunk
know
logs.
yeah, drunk logs, because that's neither here nor there. But what give me your biggest story that you remember.
My biggest story. I do remember, well, I have a few. So I do remember one of the times I got super drunk. My mom came home from work or a party, wherever she was at. Um, and I was basically throwing up everywhere. She had to give me a bath. And yeah, I just was throwing up, and I had Goldschlager like all over my shoes. And I remember us joking, like us teenagers, joking about it staining my shoes and all that. Um, but yeah, I didn't really get hungover, and I really didn't care. And so it didn't get super bad at 17. I just remember feeling really lost, and like there was no other life for me, because obviously I had a parent that was doing the same things. I didn't really have a good role model at that point in my life. So yeah, it didn't seem bad. It just seemed like that was the way life was.
Normal.
Yeah, until I got pregnant.
So you get pregnant and then you stop drinking.
I stopped drinking only because I was pregnant. I definitely knew that even before having her, I knew I wanted to go back to drinking. It was never a question if I was an alcoholic or anything like that. Um, I honestly, even it took me a long time to realize that I was even an alcoholic, because I was raised around it. I seen a lot of people get real bad and they didn't admit they were an alcoholic. So I definitely didn't think I had a problem because I wasn't that bad.
Right.
So yeah, it took me a lot.
How many kids do you have?
For
4 kids.
Yes,
So were you drinking in between all of them?
yes.
Yes.
The only time that I ever stopped drinking to maybe give myself a break, and I thought maybe I could possibly be an alcoholic, was after I had my second daughter, and she was born in 2010. And I stopped drinking for a year. I took 1 year off. Wasn't because I thought I was an alcoholic. I thought, you know what? Maybe I'm drinking too much because I'm not healthy. I'm not happy. I like all of these different things. And I was going to church a lot. And I felt like God could save me. And so I turned towards God in a religious way, and I started going to the gym. And for a year, I did that. But on my 1 year of not drinking with that kid, I ended up celebrating with going to the bar, because I didn't think I was an alcoholic at that time. That word never was in my vocabulary. Like, I never thought for a second that I was an alcoholic. I have a father who drinks really heavy, and he doesn't really take care of himself, and I felt like if I wasn't that bad, then I wasn't an alcoholic.
Right.
So,
So
yeah.
you had so you had a gauge.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not homeless, I'm not living under a bridge, so I'm definitely not an alcoholic.
That's what's up right
Yeah.
there. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So how did you end up in recovery?
So I ended up in recovery because so fast forward, um I had two more children.
Okay, so you're married, you have
Yeah, so I got married when my oldest daughter, so that child that I had at 17, I met a man, and we got married when my oldest daughter was 5, and he raised her as his own. And then we had another one, which was the one that I was just talking about. I took a year off after having her from drinking. Well, then we ended up finding out we were pregnant with a third one, and I drank in between that. After the 1 year of taking it off, I got pregnant within, I think they're only 2 years apart, so I got pregnant within that a year. My drinking got pretty bad again, um, but I felt like I could control it at times, so I definitely didn't think I had a serious problem. Again, alcoholism never came up in my vocabulary. And then when I got pregnant with my fourth kid, before that, we had somebody living with us that was a very heavy drinker. And we drank very heavy together. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought we were just having fun as moms. And I was a stay at home mom at the time, and she didn't work, and she had her daughter at my house. So we drank really heavy. And there were times where I was hiding it from my husband. Um, we would be drinking all day when the kids got home from school, and I would take a nap. And by the time my husband got home from work, he's like, "Why were you napping?" I'm like, "I was just really exhausted. I did so much today." Not telling the whole truth. Um, but I took 6 weeks off. I decided when before I got pregnant with my fourth kid. This was in 2000. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think now. 18. Probably was 2018. I decided, you know what? I'm probably drinking way too much. It was kind of starting to get like out of control. Couldn't really control it very much, and I was losing it. I was losing that self control, and I started to obsess about it. And so I was like, you know what? I remember when I took the year off and I could do it then. Why can't I do it now? So I'm going to try. So I started working out, and I remember feeling like I was going to faint within like a week of stopping drinking. And I'm like, my blood pressure seems really high. I'm like really sweaty. I'm like, something's going on. I remember going to the hospital. I went to the urgent care a couple times because within those couple weeks, like I was just so out of it. My body was, and come to realize
DTS.
now that I am good in recovery, I look back and I'm like, holy crap, I was withdrawing from alcohol. And so then I found out I was pregnant with my fourth child. And during this time, a lot of things were happening, a lot of changes in my life. I was having a lot of issues with my mom. Um, so I was still feeling like very stressed. I was really worried about everything. And so I was trying to work out, but like at the same time, I was still super stressed and like my blood pressure seemed really high. And but I always knew that I could stop drinking because I was pregnant. So that kept me safe, it seemed though. Um, but towards the end of that pregnancy, my husband and I talked, and somehow, some way, my brain convinced myself that I wasn't an alcoholic and that after I have this kid, that I can drink again. And when I was about 36 weeks pregnant with him, I decided I was going to drink a glass of wine. And as you know, us alcoholics, when we take any alcohol in, we get that obsession. And the obsession starts to make you a little bit crazy. And I was going a little crazy that night. And my husband at the time went into the room, and I kind of like snuck a second glass, but like I made sure it was only a half a glass. A little more than half probably. But I remember feeling so guilty and shameful for doing that because at that point I was choosing alcohol over my child. Like I got a little bit in my system and I was kind of freaking out because I'm like, well, what if I can't sleep? What if like I can't feel him? I don't know. It was just a really weird feeling, but I'm like, alcohol took over at that point. So then I had him, right? So I was going back and forth with like, I'm not an alcoholic. I am an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. So then I ended up drinking right then, but that was the only time that I drank during that pregnancy. But I was so anxious to get him out that I was like going to the hospital. Like it was 2 or 3 weeks of this, going to the hospital, like freaking out, telling them I'm going through something. My brain is like acting funky. Like I don't know what is going on with me. So I felt like I was like going into a psychosis of some sort. Like I was going into a weird, like alcohol totally took over my brain and I could not function. Even though I wasn't drinking, I think just having that glass and a half of wine really started that crazy obsession and like weird thoughts, and I don't know. So once I had him, um, it took me 5 months, 5 months of drinking pretty heavy. Um, I made sure that I got my tubes tied after I had him because I really wanted the pain medication. That was my first addict thought, right? Um, I really wanted the pain medication. I took it as prescribed for the most part. I think that at the end I took 2 or 3 extra at the end because I'm like, oh, I'm probably not going to be hurting tomorrow, but so I'll be fine. I didn't drink during that time when I was taking the pain medication, so I probably didn't drink for like 5 days. So my at that point I had a newborn, 5 days old baby, but I couldn't stop thinking about alcohol. So of course, um, I ended up drinking again, and uh, a lot happened. I got sober when my son was 5 months old, and I will never forget it.
How did you get sober? What did you do?
Um, so I think for a couple months before I thought maybe I was an alcoholic, I was researching like alcoholics, like whatever it was. Like there was a support group on Facebook, and I added that, and I was posting questions like, how do you know you're an alcoholic? Like, how would I know if I'm an alcoholic? I'm like, you can Google this, but it doesn't give you clear answers, right? And it sounds crazy, but like Google is not very, very spot on with alcoholism at all, which is really funny because,
Well, it probably is, but you were trying to talk yourself out of
yes,
it while you were.
yeah, they have those quizzes and like all of that, but I did not want anything to do with those. I was like, I know for a fact that all of these answers are yes, but alcoholism is self diagnosing.
It is.
And so that's what's tricky with us alcoholics that
So
don't want to admit
right.
or get help.
Okay. So like, if you're like already second guessing your answer, you already
Yes,
know the answer, right? So did you check yourself into treatment?
no.
No. Okay.
For me, I was a mother of four, and
That
my
wasn't an option.
my
Okay.
husband at the time worked, and I was a stay at home mom. And I played around with the whole recovery thing for a minute before I decided that maybe I should go into a program and really work something to get better. Um, at first, I just added that Facebook group, and I started talking to somebody on there, and she walked me through. And she was all the way in North Carolina, I believe, and I still to this day keep in contact with her on Facebook.
That's awesome.
She's amazing, and she walked me through a fifth step at one point, and I actually just messaged her about it the other day, and she's like, "You really helped me at that time too." Um, she was the one that said, "If you're not ready, you're not ready." And so I gave it a couple more months, and a couple more months led me down my rock bottom, and I was willing to do anything that I possibly could. I wanted to go to treatment, but there just was no way. There was no way.
Okay. So I mean, so you check. So you don't go to a treatment center, but you do check out 12-step programs or
Yes.
groups.
Yes.
Um, and so did you dive in?
Dove right in.
Okay. And so you dove into this program.
Mhm.
Um, so at first was it like okay, so uh, this is kind of a tricky question because so I'll explain it to you how I felt. So when I first came into the
Mhm.
program that you and I
Mhm.
attend, um, I wasn't sold on it. I just didn't want to feel the way I wanted to feel, but I also didn't. I knew I had a problem,
Mhm.
so I took the direction, but I was also second guessing every direction that was
Mhm.
given to me.
I hear that a lot.
So, but so were you like that, or did you automatically think like I'm just gonna do this because I need to do this?
So I think when I first started, um, I came in with serious desperation, and I was trying to find all the similarities, and it took me a little while to find those similarities to keep me to stay, but I think that the only thing that I kept telling myself was keep going back, you're going to hear something that you need to hear, and you're going to find somebody that is going to be your support. And I didn't speak up for a long time. I didn't. I kept quiet. I didn't introduce myself. I didn't at all like want to even say who I was because surprisingly I was super shy and very insecure and like very like to myself. I would turn red like every sorry anytime that somebody would like look my way. I didn't want to be seen. So I didn't introduce myself. I didn't say anything for a while, but I think in the first week, um, I found what I needed to hear and I just kept coming. And I that's what I did. I just kept coming and I dove in shortly after that. I finally, yeah, I got,
So let's fast forward 4
yeah.
years now. Okay,
Okay.
almost 4 years.
Yes, almost 4 years.
Um, so are you still married?
No.
Okay, so obviously sometimes, and I heard this a lot. Actually, I heard this a lot when I was in treatment center.
Mhm.
You'll go into treatment and you'll find that you're not in love with the person you're with, or the person will realize that you're not the person they ever want to be with.
Yeah.
Was that the case for you?
I think it was the case for both of us.
Okay.
Um, I think that we both got into it like very broken humans, and I think we grow over time.
Yeah.
And I think sobriety changed me a lot, and that's just that. Like I changed. I was finding new people to be around, and I just I don't know. I guess I just didn't feel like that was what it was for me anymore.
So how's your life today? How would you rate your life today?
I would say that my life is pretty great. No matter what I go through today, I know that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. And my life does not feel unmanageable today like it used to. I feel like with whatever struggles come, I will overcome. And if not I, it's we,
That's right.
because it's all of us. We do not do anything alone,
So do
really.
you have a huge support group?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so you rely on your support group?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. And so, I mean, obviously, like a lot of us that come in are broken. Um,
Yes,
and I mean, it's so true. It takes a village, right?
it
And
does.
so I know for me, I have a small circle of friends. I mean, I talk to everybody. I know everybody,
Yeah.
but I have a small circle, right?
Mhm.
And there's two strong women aside from my wife
Mhm.
that I adore. Um, she obviously helps me a lot, but not right now. She's in Hawaii.
She
Oh,
left you to do
she
something fun.
yeah, she left me to do something fun, but um, she's a very huge supporter because
Mhm.
we know each other since sobriety.
Mhm.
Um, but there's two other women in my life. Actually, there's three women in my life that are in my program, our program,
Mhm.
that I rely on a lot for spiritual,
Yeah.
for moral, for all kinds of things. And one of those persons happens to be here,
Mhm.
and she happens to help you a lot.
Yes.
Um, and so, since coming into this program, I've learned to be a better human, a better friend, right?
Mhm.
So, I rely upon people to help me out because I'm not perfect.
Mhm.
We're not perfect, and we
Mhm.
need the help.
We need
Um,
different perspectives
we
too, I
do,
feel
and
like.
so I see the changes in you. I've seen the changes in you. Um, and for a long time, I guess I didn't really, or for a few months, I didn't know who was helping you, but I saw, I saw changes in you, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What's going on with this one? No, look at her." And so now it all makes sense.
It all
Um,
does really make sense. It's somebody that you love and care for and
yes,
you trust, and yeah, that's helping me.
yes,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And okay, so here's a question that I ask everybody.
Okay.
Okay, it's a little hard,
Oh goodness.
which you already touched on it, kind of. But what would you say to somebody out there struggling that really wants, that is looking for sobriety, that doesn't know, like you, that doesn't know whether they're an alcoholic or a drug
Mhm.
addict, um, that are trying to find some solution, but they don't know, what would your words of encouragement be for them?
Oh, goodness. That's a hard one. I think for me, when like a friend like reaches out to me to say that they think they might have a problem, what I say is, let's not focus on that problem then. Why don't we find solution? How about you come hang out? And the thing is like when they start talking about it with a like-minded human, I think they're going to figure it out eventually if they have that problem. And like for me, my obsession over trying to control it and trying to think that I'm not an alcoholic is just my alcoholism. And I think that they will figure that out as they see somebody who's in recovery and has gone through that and like is working a good program and doing what they need to do. Once they see that, I think that it kind of just comes naturally. I've always been told you just do you and other people will see how you do it and they're going to follow. And that's just how it works. We don't have to show anybody anything. You show by really just being you and doing it. So
Hell
that's
yeah.
all I got with that.
Hell yeah.
Does that even make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I mean, because that's, we got to give back, right?
Yeah.
We got to give back what was given
Yeah.
to us.
And I just have to say how excited I am to hear from somebody like that needs help or wants help, or when they call me and I answer my phone, it takes me out of me in my own head way more often than I like to give credit for. I mean, I have a friend that was struggling for a long time and she was calling me constantly and I loved it. Like just hearing her strength and like hearing what she's doing and like all of that, it just really helped me to get out of myself. And then she kind of took a break for a little bit. And then, like, that couple weeks that she took that break, I was like, man, I feel like I don't have a purpose right now. Like, where can I find solution and where can I find to help somebody? And, and I feel like that's what these new people need to know is like reach out. You do more good helping that person help you than just sitting back and continuing to do what you're doing without reaching out.
It's kind of like a circle, huh?
It's definitely a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it, Mariah. This was awesome. See, it wasn't that hard,
It
was it?
wasn't that hard.
No, you were just nervous for nothing, huh?
No, I wasn't nervous. The coffee made me want to have a heart attack.
Okay. I mean, you were acting kind of nervous.
I wasn't nervous. See, I'm still kind of shaky because the coffee. Coffee gave me a heart attack.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in once again. My name is Richie. Thank you for tuning in to 12 Step Up. Remember to please like, share, subscribe, and follow. Uh, the more followers we get, the happier everybody is. I don't know. Whatever.
The more we get the message out.
We're just trying to get this message out to, we're trying to help out as many people as we possibly can and hopefully help somebody. So anyways, guys, thank you so much. See you guys next time.